Hey everybody, how you guys doing? It's the Fantasy Typhoon here, aka the Mentalist, aka your favorite analyst. Tonight's show we have trade, keep, cut. This is more for my dynasty, a little redraft. If you just like fantasy football, you like real NFL, stay tuned. We have a treat for you. Remember the show? It's called Game Time.
It's about to go down in a minute. Let me touch down. I'ma get it. Cause I been waiting all night. It's game time.
Hey everybody, once again, it's the Fantasy Typhoon. Welcome to Game Time. And tonight's show is centered around James Robinson, Cam Akers, and good old Clyde Edwards-Helaire. We're doing a segment called Trade, Keep, Cut. And I'm going to bring on my illustrious panel. I got my good friend Shane T. Hallam. What's up, Shane?
Hey, how's it going, Typhoon? How are you?
Hey, man. Hey, I'm doing good, man. Thanks for taking time out of your busy schedule. Come sit back and talk a little fantasy football with good old Typhoon. So, I mean, if you would, for the folks out there, let them know what you got in the oven, where they can find you. You don't mind?
Absolutely. You can find me on Twitter at the handle below there. If you ever have any questions, let me know there. But I write over at fakepigskin.com, doing a lot of NFL draft stuff. Right now, I have a 7-round mock draft up there. And I'm the co-host of the Devy Marketplace podcast. We talk fantasy football, Devy fantasy football. So if you're, into the college players, want to learn about them, get it wherever you get your podcasts. And I write about the Steelers over at SteelCityInsider.net. So a little bit of everything for me.
Okay, I didn't know about the Steelers work you're doing over there.
We're kind of focused on the draft and the Steelers there. So yeah, we'll Big Ben for another year, unfortunately, but stuck with
See
him.
what happens. Claypool, get ready. Hey, got my good friend Jeff Pasley of the world famous football guy. He's last but definitely not least. Jeff, welcome to the show, man. Go ahead and tell the folks where they can find you, man, and what you got going on, my friend.
Sure. Yeah. Thanks for having me. You guys can always find me at footballguys.com. Seems like lately I've been doing some drafts, some rookie rankings, dynasty rankings. I'm also in charge of, I guess, or coordinating a collaborative effort on some off-season dynasty roundtable with the staff. So that's a lot of fun. Lots of topics to discuss there. That goes live, I believe, published tomorrow. So look for that. And also doing some writing for Carolina Sports Illustrated or Panthers SI, I guess is what it is. That's about it. I mean, it's off season. So I'm doing some behind the scenes stuff at Football Guys as well. But that kind of picks up a little bit as the draft gets closer. And of course, after the draft. So doing some podcasts now with Carolina Fandom, my own podcast. Looking forward to having some draft analysts and scouts, including our own Shane P. Hallam on the show. So we can go over some prospects on who Carolina might pick with their 8th pick, but also moving on throughout the draft. So lots of stuff going on, man. It seems like I'm super busy.
That's good. Look, it seems like we're busier during the off season than we are during the season, right?
It could be. Yeah.
We got FA coming right, breathing down our necks, but hey, we'll be ready for that. We'll be ready to do a show, a FA show coming up, folks. So we'll be here for that too. All right, let's keep it moving and get on to what you guys are here for. The trade keep cut episode. Phone lines are open, 407-809-8330, just in case you want to call in with your own trade keep cut observations, something that we might miss. Comments are open and welcome. We want to do a trade keep show, trade keep cut show. Want to try to do this weekly with a different revolving guest. And so maybe we need some help. I need a little help for next week. Who should I do next week? Let me see it in the comments, please. But this week we have trade keep cut. Clyde Edwards-Helaire, James Robinson, and Cam Akers are all head to head. Let's see. Shane, I already know what you're going to do on keep. I think I got a good idea what you're going to do. So Shane, if you would lead us off, trade keep cut. Who would you trade?
So my trade, I think right now, I think I'd trade James Robinson. I think he's probably the one I would trade, right? We got word today that the Jaguars want to bring in some competition at running back. I really like James Robinson. I was a huge fan of him coming into the draft. I was hyping him up. I have an article of Fake Pigskin over a year before he was drafted. He wasn't drafted, but a year before he came in the NFL. Where I saw some similarities to David Johnson coming out of college, and no one really expected Robinson to do what he did for the Jaguars. But I mean, he carried as much of a load percentage as any running back in the NFL. So they definitely need to bring someone in to help alleviate that. He can't run 99% of the carries like he did at I think it was one game he had 100% of the carries for the team. So they need to do that. That being said, I think he's still a good player. I think you can still get some good value for him, and ultimately, I think he's a player that needs to still be on teams. I'm actually targeting to kind of get him and trade for him in some spots, and people get worried about this. People get worried about the competition coming in. I think Robinson's good enough to still carry the load, still catch some passes, do everything there. So he's my trade at this point, and I think there could be some good value out there in getting him as well.
Okay, so you trade in James Robinson out of trade keep cut. Your choice is to trade James Robinson, correct?
Correct.
All right, Mr. Jeff, the floor is yours. Trade, keep, cut. Clyde Edwards-Helaire, James Robinson, or Mr. Cam Akers.
So I'm going to cut straight to the chase and say that the person that I would trade is Cam Akers. And the reason why is because I believe he has the most value right now out of the three of those. Okay. So you can get the most in return from him. And you have to understand that, Akers had some really good games to end the season. I totally agree that he's a good running back, and that's most likely why he is the most valuable out of all three of those. But we also have to take a look at his future. You've got Matthew Stafford coming in. Matthew Stafford hasn't necessarily been too kind to running backs in fantasy speaking. So there's some concern there. I just think that you can get the most for your return by trading Cam Akers, and especially when we're talking about the other two backs, and we'll get to that in the other topics here. But out of those three, I would trade Cam Akers and get another running back, a startable running back, plus a first-round pick, at least for Akers. And I'm not sure you can do that for any of the other running backs. You can't. So Akers is my guy that I would trade.
Wow, Jeff, you must have looked at my notes. Look, folks, I promise you we did not talk about this or discuss this earlier.
No,
I let these guys know last week. Look, trade, keep, cut, James Robinson, Clyde Edwards-Helaire, Cam Akers. Do what you want, and then we just sit here and hash it out. Oh, my God. He said the same thing I want to say. All right, here's Typhoon's take. Since the cat is already out the bag, I'll just go ahead and let you know that I would trade Cam Akers for the same reason for the haul that you should expect in return. But if you really look at these three backs, they're all pretty much the same guy. I mean, look, Clyde Edwards-Helaire, he's 21 years old, 5'7", 207, ran a 4.6 40. He got 803 yards, 4 touchdowns, 36 catches, 297 yards, and 1 touchdown. Cam Akers, he's 21. He's 5'10", 217 pounds. He ran a 4.40, 625 yards on the ground, 2 tubs, 11 catches, 123 yards, and 1 tub. And here comes Mr. James Robinson, the UDFA, taking over the show there in Jacksonville, making Leonard Fournette expendable. 22 years old, just a year older, maybe a couple of months. 5'9", 219, ran a 4.6, 4.40. He's a little slower, but that doesn't matter as far as running backs. Got 240 carries. He hit the 1,000 yard mark rushing, 7 touchdowns, 49 catches, 344 yards, and 3 touchdowns. Now, all of these guys are 3-down backs. So I wanted to try to go that route to try to make a difference between the three. But they all seem to be 3-down backs. But one thing with Clyde Edwards-Helaire, it doesn't seem like Andy Reid sees him as every down back. And then you have Damon Williams coming up. But we'll get to Helaire a little bit later. Now, I went and looked and see what round they're going in the NFFC. Akers right now is going at he was a 1.5 in your rookie draft, pretty much give or take right in that range. And now he's worth the 2.4 is going in the second round, 4th pick off the board. James Robinson climbed all the way up from a UDFA, claimed all the way up from waiver wire dollars. Now he's going in NFFC as second round pick number 6. Clyde Edwards-Helaire, he's the one that took the drop. He was your 1.01 pretty much across the board in your rookie draft. Now he's going in the NFFC at the 3.7. So Helaire is losing steam. Akers is gaining steam. As the year went on, Akers got better. Got a lot of burn during the playoffs. Like my colleague just said, you got Matthew Stafford coming in. Cam Akers is in the modified West Coast system. And what that means is the head coach has an easier time finding a role for his offensive personnel. No matter if you got a fast X or if you got a slow Z, we can accommodate that. We got a slow X and a fast Z. We can accommodate that. In other words, McVay can take his system to tailor make it fit to each one of his pieces or his personnel. So sometimes that's good and bad, because like if Akers is slow getting around the corner, getting to the outside, then the toss crack and the toss sweep will pretty much go to Henderson, is what I'm saying. So this is kind of good and bad for Akers. And running backs get a lot of carries in that offense. Now, when you're looking at the film study a little bit, now my professional scouts gave Cam Akers a 4th round grade. He was first off the Rams had the 3rd best offensive line in 2020, so that had that working for them. They were only behind the Green Bay Packers, which was number 2, and the Browns had the best offensive line during the 2020 season. When he lined up single back, he lined up 6 yards deep. I like that. He didn't really line up 4 to 5 yards deep. He lined up 6 yards deep. What that does is give him a better launch point, gives him a little bit more vision, gives him a longer time to hit the line of scrimmage so he can make better decisions. So I kind of like that. I like to see him taking that deep when they were in under center, but that's usually a shotgun offense. Now, I would like to see him drive more in short yardage and situations and goal line opportunities. I want to see him give me a little bit more toughness there. Many times he got knocked off course. Tacklers kind of lifted him up off his feet. He didn't have any traction to get that hitting yardage. He didn't come off as a bruiser, but I'm not really mad at that, because that's not really what McVay is calling for. Now, let's go over his numbers. His best game was week 14 against the Patriots. He put up 23.4 fantasy points, 29 carries, 171 on the ground, 3 targets, 2 catches for 23. His worst game was against the Eagles, week 2. He had 3 carries for 13 yards. So I'm not eating his lunch for that. That's when he was first getting himself acclimated. So you see the contrast between week 2 and week 14. Akers got better as the season went on. He ate up 26.4 of the team snap share and 52% during the playoffs. So once again, he got an uptick. 37.76 rush percentage during the regular season. Then that jumped to 83.64 during the playoffs. Once again, he got better. His catch rate started out during the regular season at 78.6. and went up to a complete 100% in the playoffs, in that playoff game they had. So he upticked. Injuries, Akers suffered a injury. He missed, 2 games with a rib separation. He missed weeks 3 and 4 against the Bills and the Giants, and then he missed one week 16 against the Seahawks. Now, the reason why I say trade Cam Akers, and I went and looked at some of the hauls that folks are getting from trading Cam Akers. Here's one that might interest you guys. Cam Akers, 309, 4.01, 4.09 for Kenny Golladay and Allen Robinson. Here's another one. Saquon Barkley, Adam Thielen, the 4.04 for Cam Akers, Deebo Samuel, 2.05, and the 3.05. Now, Shane, here's one I know you licking your chops at right here. I know you licking your chops at this trade. I know you wish you was on the Cam Akers side. Somebody gave up the 1.07, the 1.09, and the 1.11 for Cam Akers and a 2.04. So I know you licking your chops at that one, huh, Shane?
No, I'm not.
Okay. And so I agree with, I guess I won't agree. I just say my choice in this trade key cut scenario, Cam Akers is on the rise, and he finished the season better than he started. We all know running backs have a short shelf life. You know, I give him another 3-4 good years, and here come those aches and pains. I would trade him out for a wide receiver. Go ahead and get my haul while I can. I'm kind of with Jeff. I said all that to pretty much say that. Trade Cam Akers. That was my trade. All right, let's go to round 2. Let's go. Anybody want to follow up with anybody want to plant their flag or anything else to say about their trade? We can move on to Keith. What y'all want to do? Move on?
Yeah, let's move on, because I mean, what we're gonna say has to do with either one of these topics coming up anyway. So
Right.
Yeah, let's just move on.
Let's move on. All right, let's move on. It says trade, keep, cut. Now we're on the keep. So it's your go, Jeff. We'll let you go first. I'll go first on the cut. So who you keeping, Jeff?
I'm keeping James Robinson. And the reason why is because I just think that he's a dual threat running back. He's obviously, with 49 catches last year, and his strong rookie rushing season as well. I mean, I just think that he's a dual purpose 3-down running back in a system that is on the up and up. You've got Trevor Lawrence coming in, and I don't really think that, this noise of, hey, we're going to bring in another running back. Yeah, damn right they need to bring in another running back. That's fine. Bring in a veteran or something. I'm completely fine with that. But I know this is a new coaching staff. But James Robinson proved what he's capable of, and I think that's going to carry over. You don't just talent just doesn't disappear because you have a new coach. You just have to. I mean, he's going to have to work at it again, right? But I mean, I think he showed what he's capable of. And, I looked at some numbers here, and I thought, all right, well, who am I going to – I thought that Cam Akers was most likely the one who has the highest value, right? Who's most likely to finish in the top 10 in 2021? Do you guys have any clue, any thoughts there? Is it Akers? Is it Robinson? I think it might be Akers. I mean, out of those three, I think Akers might finish in the top. So, therefore, he's got more value. I just think he's better off as a trade commodity than the other two right now. The one that I want to keep is the one that I know is going to score touchdowns. I mean, if we're looking at rookie running backs that have, since 2010, that have scored 10 touchdowns or more in their rookie year, Robinson's on that list. DeAndre Swift from last year is on the list. So is Antonio Gibson. So is Saquon Barkley. You got Nick Chubb. You've got Leonard Fournette, Ezekiel Elliott, Todd Gurley, Dave Johnson, Doug Martin, Trent Richardson, going back to 2010. That's some really good company. If Robinson's in that company, I think that he's going to have another follow-up good year. Also, looking at numbers for Robinson, in 7 attempts inside the 5, he has 5 touchdowns as a rusher. 5 rushing touchdowns on 7 attempts inside the 5 last year. Both Clyde Edwards-Helaire and Cam Akers had 9 attempts inside the 5, and they both only have 1 touchdown to show for it. So from a goal line standpoint, Robinson's getting it done. And I also looked at plays of 10 yards or more. Robinson had 289 touches this past year, and 42 of those went for 10 yards or more, or 14.5% of all of his touches. That's impressive. And in my opinion, I think that Robinson is the one that I would much rather have going into this next season. I'm a little bit uncertain about Clyde Edwards-Helaire. I already said that I'm going to trade Akers. Not that Akers can't put forth good numbers. I think he can. But I think you're also going to get the most value for him. And that's, in my opinion, why I would want to trade him. But Clyde Edwards-Helaire, he's got to deal with, number one, the Chiefs are a passing offense. They are a passing offense, and they're going to be like that. I don't see that stopping. I mean, they've got Tyreek Hill. They've got Travis Kelce, and they get in the red zone. Guess who's getting the ball? One of those two. It's not going to be Clyde Edwards-Helaire because we've seen them try to give him the ball, and he doesn't do it. Or it'll go to one of their other, name it, running back on the Chiefs. So I'm a little concerned about his involvement, his volume, all of that. And therefore, I'll stop rambling here, but Robinson is my pick. I like the back. I like him better. I think he's a more well-rounded running back on an offense that is improving.
Okay. So you plant your flag on James Robinson as your key.
Out of those 3, yes. Yeah.
Okay. All right, Shane, I'm next, and you bring up the real, okay?
I'm ready.
Once again, Jeff, you did it to me. See, that's why I told you we needed someone else because we think alike, man. We needed a third party here to kind of to be the judge, to overrule, just to throw some spice in this. Because I had a good feeling that you and I were going to go tick for tack, neck for neck, and I'm
all 3 not agreeing with each other. So.
I'm for the pretty much the same reasons that you just put forth. I'm keeping James Robinson, and looking at the system he's in. He's in what you call a traditional pro set system. And this usually means there's a fullback on the roster and there's a lot of under center carries instead of from shotgun like you see from Cam Akers and what you see from Clyde Edwards-Helaire. Also, you got Trevor Lawrence coming in. So hopefully, there'll be an uptick in his catches out of the backfield. That'll be an uptick in his opportunities as far as at the goal line. So what a traditional pro style, what a traditional pro set offense is, folks, is they line up. We're running the ball. They put up a banner. Hey, we're running the ball. We're going to out execution you when we run the ball. We're planning on you to fail at gap integrity. We're planning for you to fail at the manpower. In other words, we're planning on you to make a mistake while we execute. So that's why I like him, because he's in that system. Now that system probably will change. Probably be a lot more shotgun now that Trevor Lawrence is coming into the situation. But I still like James Robinson for this simple fact here, for these facts. Here's a little film study for you. My professional scouts gave him a 7th round grade, priority free agent. So that's what he came in as. And he came in as that. Now, James Robinson was used like a workhorse. He was used in all phases of the game. He has good pass pro. He can catch the ball. He can run in between the AB gaps, and he can also catch the hitches and go outside. He runs hard. And that's what I like to see. I like to see my running backs run hard. I like to see him get that hitting yardage. I like to see him keep his legs churning. I like to see it when it takes a pile to take him down. 2 or 3 guys to kind of get this man on the ground. Another thing what I like, he went 4 to 5 straight carries in some games, and he didn't tap out. He didn't even look to the sidelines to even take a breather. The man wants to stay on the field. He also catches with his hands. He transitions into a runner very smoothly. The offensive line came in number 20 at ranked at number 22 during the 2020 season. I think they just franchise tagged Cam Robinson, which is the left tackle. So I expect they have the most cap money at hand of what you guys see who's being dropped, who's being cut today. A lot of those offensive linemen. So I'm looking for a lot of uptick from this offensive line. I'm looking for the offensive line to take a jump from something like 22, maybe 12. I don't think that's reaching too far. Now let's go over the numbers. 61.81% of the team snaps, which is huge. 85.41% of the team rushing attempts. He was a workhorse. 81% catch rate, which is outstanding. He's getting open for his QB is what that's telling you. His best game was on the road against the Chargers. He put up a whopping 33.7 fantasy points, went over 100 rushing yards, and also caught a TD. He ran and caught TD. Love it. Love it. He never scored under double digits fantasy in throughout his whole rookie campaign. 10 points was his lowest score, and that was his first game. So he got better as it went on. So now let's look at his injury history. Robinson played 36 snaps against the Baltimore Ravens in Week 15 before he left with the ankle injury at about 9 minutes and 46 seconds left in the fourth quarter. And then he did go on to miss the final 2 games of the season. James Robinson, man, he's what I want in a running back. He's that, you got to take me down, you know? And like I said earlier, he doesn't tap out. So I'm keeping James Robinson. Now, I am fully aware that the depth chart is screaming another back. But if you look at, I'm not naive to that. I understand it. It's happening. But when you kind of look at your free agent, they're not bringing Leonard Fournette back. That was a threat. He's good in a traditional pro setup. They're not bringing him back. His only real threat is Aaron Jones. Aaron Jones not coming in. I don't think he's coming. I can't say. I don't know what's happening. I don't think the tea leaves are reading him in Jacksonville. I don't see that as a fit, but I don't know. It's a new sheriff in town. And with Chris Carson, Aaron Jones, and Leonard Fournette are pretty much your running backs that really is going to put a serious threat to the work that he's already put in. And another thing that kind of scares me a little bit with him, I have to be full disclosure, it is a new day in Jacksonville. So I don't know what that new regime thinks of him. I don't know how they feel about him. But I know how I feel about him. That's a running back. He's a running back. Hey, that's my take on James Robinson. I'm keeping him. Shane, bring up the real for us, my friend.
Oh, all right. Look, I got a lot here. My keep is Cam Akers.
I already knew it.
Look, these are two of the smartest guys in fantasy football, but if you trade Cam Akers, that is the stupid move for you to make. I mean, look, take the package that Typhoon had for Cam Akers in an early second. Get 3 first-round picks. How many running backs can you take with those first-round picks? Guess what? None. Because, if we look at this year's running back class, they're all going to go in the top 6 of your rookie draft. The top 3 guys, Najee Harris, Travis Etienne, Javonte Williams, are going to go in the top 6. I mean, look at last year. We had a good running back class. All those running backs went in the top half of the first round of your rookie draft. Who were you left with at the end of the first was Keyshawn Vaughn, which would have been a tremendous pick to make. So you're going to trade away a potential top 10 running back in fantasy football for a bunch of rookie receivers. I think that's absolutely a mistake, right? And I just don't see you trading him for a running back that's going to be as good, plus getting more capital in there. So I think you got to keep him. Sean McVay traditionally has used one primary running back, and we saw that convert to Cam Akers. Darrell Henderson got hurt. It became Cam Akers. Darrell Henderson came back, and in the playoffs, when they had to win, when no one expected them to beat the Seahawks, what do? They rode Cam Akers, and that's exactly what they're going to continue to do. Let's also take a look at Cam Akers and his history, right? He didn't play running back in high school. He played quarterback. So he's a player that's only been playing the position for 4 years, and he's already where he is. He's going to get better. I think that also should play into it. I mean, if you had traded Christian McCaffrey after his first year, I think you'd be crying right now. I think it's a bad move. Now, I don't think Cam Akers is going to be that and catching those passes, but I'm just saying I think he's going to be a potential top 5 fantasy football back for the next 4 or 5 years. And that's a guy that you need to keep on your team. He's a player that can win you championships. Now, I did like Jeff's point about Matthew Stafford. I think that's well met, that he hasn't been good to running backs. I would say that the Detroit Lions and their coaching staff are the ones that haven't been good to running backs personally. I think that's been the bigger issue to me. I think the Rams are NFC contenders. They're going to score a lot of points. They're going to score more points, which is always a positive thing. So I think Cam Akers is the guy that you absolutely want to keep. I think, he has the most trade value because he's the best of these 3, and that's the guy that you want. And, I really like James Robinson. Like I said before, I really like him, and you guys are going to make me talk dirty about my guy here. But, I think what he did last year was exceptional. And I think it is going to be hard to repeat that. Even if they bring in a player, Typhoon, I like you listing off who's a guy that can bring in that can absolutely trump him. I agree with you. I don't think they're going to bring in Aaron Jones. They're not going to bring in one of these top guys, right? But let's say they bring in James Conner.
Gus Edwards.
Gus Edwards snipes some touchdowns, right? Let's say they bring in James White. There goes all your receptions. That's my fear with James Robinson, with a coaching staff that has no knowledge of him, that didn't, sign him, that didn't cut Leonard Fournette for him, right? New GM. I think Urban Meyer will like him. I think they'll say, this is a position we need to add to, but you only have so many dollars and so many picks, and there's much, much, much bigger needs out there. So, I think he'll still be productive, but I think the fantasy numbers he put up last year could almost be a ceiling for him, and that's kind of my fear. I could look really bad with this, because I think if Trevor Lawrence and that offense explodes with the new system, then you're scoring just like I like Cam Akers. You're scoring more points. Then James Robinson can have those touchdowns that Jeff said. But unfortunately, I had to trade him away. I had to trade James Robinson away because Cam Akers is going to take my team to the title, and that's what I'm looking for.
So you saying we're in the playoffs? I got James Robinson. You got Cam Akers. Your RB1 gonna get me. That's what you're saying.
Yeah, you can have. You can trade him and sign. Have Jalen Waddle starting on your team instead. But I'll take Cam Akers versus Robinson and Waddle, and we'll go from there.
So you saying I love you, man? That's why I love bringing you to the show, man. I love it, man. I love the way you bring it, man. Go ahead and call it like you see it. Don't be scared, man. Don't hold your tongue. You don't have to agree. I love it, man. I love it. I love it. I love it. I love it. All right, folks. Now, look, we all know in real life a trade keep cut of this magnitude. I mean, we're really doing who would you pretty much. Well, hold on. I'll say that for the end. Hold on. Let me go ahead. Let's keep the show moving. Clyde Edwards-Helaire. So I guess Clyde Edwards-Helaire's cut for everybody. So that's already known right now. Clyde Edwards-Helaire's getting cut. So I'll go ahead and lead it off. And who's next? I'll lead it off, and then Shane go, and Jeff, you'll bring up the rear, right?
Shane, or maybe you're first there, Typhoon.
I'm first.
Yeah. I'll go next. That works.
Jeff, you bring up the rear this time.
Okay.
All right. Clyde Edwards-Helaire. I always like to try to tell you guys what kind of system they in and what's expected of the running back. And Kansas City runs that modified spread offense. They want to get the ball downfield. Now, when you see a running back in this modified spread system, it usually flirts with top 5 running back each and every year. That's kind of like a given, just that position. That's why I was so amped when Clyde Edwards-Helaire was drafted to the Chiefs. You kind of went, that's why he went at your 1.01, right? You automatically put him as a top 10 running back going forward, but it didn't turn out that way. Now he's considered an every down back, in my opinion. He can run, he can catch, he can pass, bro. He can do it. But for some reason, Andy Reid, I don't know. Andy Reid just didn't seem to see that. Now, and in a modified spread system, there should be a lot of dunks out of the backfield. Now, not just dunks, folks. I mean actual routes, like the pivot route, the option routes. You got your slants, you got your classic wheels, and your 3-count screen coming out the backfield. He should be catching some passes, is what I'm saying. And now just think about how Clyde was used as opposed to Kareem Hunt. Kareem Hunt put in work. And that's what you were expecting from that backfield. That's what the backfield looks like when it's running with the right personnel in it. Now, my scouts gave him a mid to late second round grade. Now, of course, we all know that there are only usually about, I would say, 14, 15 guys that really are first round grade. So your 15 through 32, even though they're being picked in the first round, it's pretty much your second round graded guys going in the first round for the simple fact that there aren't enough first round graded guys to accommodate that. Now let's get on to my film study. The offensive line in Kansas City ranked 11. Now here's some things that I do like about LA. He runs tough. He protects the ball with both hands. I like that. He catches the ball cleanly out the backfield. He looks the ball into his hands. He's a natural hands catcher. Like that. He's hard to tackle at times. Sometimes he gets gritty and grimy. He beats that linebacker in space, and then he can smash him on blitz pickup. He started to use that stiff arm a little bit. I'm like, okay, I see you, Clyde. I see it. I see it. So I do like the back Clyde Edwards-Helaire, but it's not me. If I like him, it's Andy Reid. Now, let's look at his numbers here. He had a 65.5% catch rate during the regular season, which dropped to 60% catch rate during the playoffs in the Super Bowl. He went down. He had a 33.2 snap percentage during the regular season, and then had a 22% snap percentage during the playoffs in the Super Bowl. Once again, it went down. He had a 65.5% catch rate during the regular season, which dropped to a 60% during the playoffs and the Super Bowl. So he's going down. But why is he going down? That's the question. Now, his best game was against the Bills. He put up 22.9 fantasy points. He ran for 161 yards. That's the Clyde Edwards-Helaire I wanted to see. But this is a modified spread system. So you're not going to get that. You know, every blue moon, when the unicorn comes out in the rainbow, you'll see this type of production from Clyde Edwards-Helaire. He got 4 catches for 8 yards in that game against the Bills. His worst game was 4.9 fantasy points against the Bucs in Week 12. And of course, we know that Bucs defense. So I can't put it all on LR. That Bucs defense is for real. Now let's go over his injury. Clyde Edwards-Helaire suffered a hip injury and a high ankle sprain. Week 15, he was shut down against New Orleans Saints, and then he missed the rest of the regular season. So he missed a total of 3 games. So the verdict here on Clyde Edwards-Helaire, I got to cut him, man. I got to cut him. And he was your Dynasty 1.01. I got to say that again. I got to get it into your brain that he went at the 1.01. Now he's being drafted at the 3.7 in the NFFC. So, Jeff, if you could, whenever you go, could you please tell me what he's going in football, guy? Right now. In the NFFC, he's going at the 3.7, so you're losing. Go ahead and cut bait. Get out of there while you can. But here's the biggest thing. Here's the main reason why I'm cutting LA. You got Damian Williams coming back. He opted out. He had 1 more year on his contract, but we all know when you opt out for COVID, your contract, everything froze and stays the same. So if you had 1 year left on your contract, you opted out, you got 1 year left on your contract when you come back. So Damian Williams coming back. Now, does Andy Reid like Damian Williams more? I don't know. I don't know. It's just something out there. And here's why. During the Super Bowl, Todd Bowles ran 2 safeties he kept 2 safeties back. So what does that tell you? Run the ball. You got to run them out of that. You got to run them out of cover 2. For some reason, Andy Reid did not run them out of cover 2. That was 6 yards a clip. Todd Bowles said, all right, you want the Super Bowl, you have to run it. Andy Reid didn't run it. Why didn't he run it? You got Clyde that was allowed to run. Now, could it have been arrogance on Andy Reid? I know more than you. I got Tyreek Hill. I got Travis Kelce in the scene. We're going to beat you that way. Why didn't he use Helaire there? That was just like Buffalo, 171 yards. That was his game. Buffalo did the same thing, cover 2. All right, you're not Tyreek Hill's not. This is not Tyreek Hill. No, he's not doing it this game. You're gonna have to beat us another way. So, what does that tell us? Is there another back coming in, or is there another tight end coming in, or is there another wide receiver? Because when they face cover 2, Andy Reid is not going to flop the cover 2 in the future. Is what I'm saying. Now, there's not a blueprint. The cover 2 is not a blueprint for the simple fact you don't have what Shaq Barrett, Vita Vea, JPP, and you don't have every defense don't have those dogs and Dominican Sue. No, every defense don't have the dogs up front, and we all know the front end works with the back end. So if the pass rush is getting to the QB, then that makes those corners and those DBs look 10 times better. So I don't think any team can just duplicate that blueprint and beat the Chiefs. But just in case offensive line is hurt again, and you're facing cover 2, Andy Reid needs another weapon if he's not going to use Helaire. So I see somebody else coming in being a difference maker. Now, who will it be and what position it will be? I don't know. But when he gets there, I'm drafting him. All right, Shane, it's on you.
Look, obviously I'm right with you. I think you did a good job. I think the one other thing that I'll add is I think a big problem for Clyde Edwards-Helaire is Patrick Mahomes. I think Patrick Mahomes being as good as he is and looking down the field and keeping his eyes down the field means he's not checking down. I mean that's what CH was so good at LSU. I mean he was Joe Burrow's outlet and could do things after the catch, like in space. And the Chiefs just never really got him in space, I felt, enough. And I just don't really see a great path to that happening more in the future. I am a Damian Williams fan. I think he should have been Super Bowl MVP over a year ago. So I don't think he'll go away either. So to me, I think it's gonna be more difficult for Edwards-Helaire to score points. I mean, maybe it's something that Andy Reid and company kind of get into the room and start to draw things up more for him. But Patrick Mahomes isn't Donovan McNabb throwing at Brian Westbrook. Patrick Mahomes is one of the best quarterbacks to ever play. And I think that makes just a big difference in how you use that running back. So if he's not catching the ball, I just don't think the rushing value is going to be there. So he's the cut for me.
Here, let me add this on. I forgot, Jeff. Let me just add this right quick. When he was at the goal line, he got stuffed. Mm-hmm. All right, go ahead, Jeff.
My turn?
Yes.
Okay. I agree with what both of you have said, especially what Shane said about Patrick Mahomes. I mean, he's a downfield thrower, and he's not Captain Checkdown. So that's not going to be a feather in the cap of any Chiefs running back, especially when you have 3 or 4 of them who can do it. And that not just as a receiver, but also at the goal line. And we're not seeing Clyde Edwards-Helaire getting many opportunities at the goal line. And it seems like in order to be a top 10 running back, you got to score touchdowns. And Edwards-Helaire is not really doing that. Now, I will say, remember before when I said that James Robinson had a 14.2, I think, percentage of all of his touches resulted in 10 yards or more. Out of those 3, the leader in that category was actually Clyde Edwards-Helaire. He had 217 touches, and 33 of those went for 10 yards or more, which is 15.2%. So, when he gets the ball, he's doing pretty well. But the fact that he's not scoring and the fact that, as Shane mentioned, Patrick Mahomes is a downfield thrower. You've got Tyreek Hill and Travis Kelce, 2 of the best players at their position. Is when they get to inside the 5, they're not running the ball, they're throwing the ball because they know that they can get either one of those as a touchdown. And or Mahomes can take it himself. I mean, there's so many options. And, I'm just not sure if – well, I know out of all of these 3, it's Edwards-Helaire who is not the one who's going to be a bell cow, 3-down, do it all-purpose back. And that's the reason why I'm cutting him. And I think you guys both agree with that. And I think we're at a consensus of why. regardless of the fact that he was the first overall pick in rookie drafts last year. Once we've realized that the Chiefs had Edwards-Helaire. Right now, he's running back 14 in dynasty startups for one quarterback, and 24. I think his average 24.3 is his ADP overall. So, that's a step down from where he was obviously before. The guy that I cut in this scenario, of course, if I had him, I'd keep him. I don't think I would trade him because his value is not that good right now. And you'd have to wait for him to have a couple good games in a row, I think, before you could get a lot of value that you would really kind of need to trade a guy like that, because you're invested in him. You made him your number one overall pick. You're going to tend to try to hang on to that. But truth be told, I'd rather have Cam Akers. I'd rather have DeAndre Swift. I'd rather have Jonathan Taylor, over Edwards-Helaire. And, could that change? Absolutely, because the NFL changes. We know this all the time. We're wrong a lot, right? But in my opinion, I think that out of those three, Edwards-Helaire is the odd man out.
You finished?
Finished.
Okay.
Did I stick the landing?
Yeah, you stuck the landing, dog. You got a 10. But okay, guys, let's do this. Was anything said tonight during this trade keep cut, debate, if you will, that kind of changed your mind? Shane, has anything been said tonight to make you change your opinions on anything?
Maybe not fully. Like I said, I think both of you made a good argument for James Robinson as a keep. And being a fan of him was like, maybe, but I couldn't give up my boy Cam Akers. The only thing I'll say, Typhoon, though, is if your scouts out there at a 4th round grade on Cam Akers, you got to get new scouts. That's all I have to say.
I hear you, man. I hear you, bro.
But no, it was a good debate, and I think I think you both made salient points on those. But I got to stick to my guns, I think.
So you standing firm?
Yeah.
Jeff, you changing or you standing firm?
Oh no, I'm not. I'm going to stand firm, and I just really appreciate listening to both sides of the argument. For Akers, particularly. Man, I just think that when it comes to picking a player who to trade, I think you go with the highest value that that you can still have decent production with the others, or at least the one that you would keep. In my case, that was Robinson. Essentially, Edwards-Helaire was the odd man out, and Akers was the one who led the way, and therefore is the highest value. And I'm a little bit more concerned about him next year, as I mentioned too, with Matthew Stafford. How many running backs have we seen in Detroit? And you could say maybe it was the Detroit coaching staff, but they've had multiple coaching staffs.
Yeah, they've all been terrible.
Reggie Bush was the last 1,000-yard rusher for Detroit. Reggie freaking Bush. What was that, 2011 or something? I don't know.
That don't bother me, Jeff. That don't bother me.
It don't bother me.
He's in a different place, man. This is not Detroit. I'm not worried.
And keep in mind too, the Rams have multiple weapons as receivers. You've got Cooper Kupp, right? You've got Robert Woods. You've got Van Jefferson up and coming. You've got multiple tight ends. Although Higby might be gone. But
now the lane's open.
What's that?
Now the lane's open. That's better.
Oh, I'm just saying, as far as a production standpoint, not everybody can be top 10, top 15. Heck, we saw it with the Cowboys. We saw it with, everyone has a strong 1, 2, 3 or so, and there's not very many teams that have successful top 15, top 20 players at each position. And I think we have to take that into consideration. And the Matthew Stafford move was just another, I don't want to say nail in the coffin, because I don't think Akers is going to struggle. There's some concern there. And the fact that he has the value that he has right now, that value, I'm trading Akers. That's just my move.
Okay. So you're both standing firm. Your flags are planted. Comes to me, old Typhoon. What you doing? I'm trading James Robinson. I'm keeping Cam Akers, man. I'm changing.
Yeah,
What?
there we go.
I'm changing, Jeff.
Leaving Jeff on the
changing,
island
man.
out there.
I thought about that for a little bit. Shane got me with that Cam Akers, man. I gotta keep him, man. I gotta keep that. He's right, though. You know trading it out now, you might get a good haul or whatever, but you're giving away a good bat right now. I gotta ride him for just a little bit. I'll go ahead and look at James Robinson. Let's find out what happens with a new regime. Let's find out what happens with Trevor Lawrence under center. Let's see what competition comes. That's too much question marks there now. I want Cam Akers now. I can still get a decent haul for James Robinson. I didn't look to see what it would look like, so I don't have it prepared because I wasn't expecting change. Shane, you got me, man. I'm keeping Cam Akers, man. I'm gonna have to leave you out there on the island, Jeff. You the lone wolf.
That's all right. Hey, let's just say a little friendly side wager of Akers versus James Robinson for production this year.
Yeah,
all right.
I like it.
You know, I mean, that's the test right there. Who's going to finish higher? And I don't think really. I mean, if I had to guess, I'd say Akers probably, right? But Robinson's capable, man.
Robinson's good. I love Robinson.
10 touchdowns as a rookie.
Yeah,
and he's the lone wolf, at least for now.
He's the lone wolf until the FA is over and rookie draft.
Yeah, and Jacksonville has 5 picks in the top 65.
So, and they got space.
But I don't think they're going to take a running back. Could they? Maybe, but probably not one of the top 3. And once you get out of the top 3, the value kind of those backs kind of have a little bit more niche skills rather than all around. Right, Shane? Would you agree with that?
Whoa! Hold! Let me say something right there. That's the same thing they said about Leonard Fournette when he came into the UDFA. Oh, there's no competition here. This Leonard Fournette backfield. That UDFA kicked him out. So you don't, as far as running backs are concerned, you really don't know the grade on them, until those guys hit the field, man.
That's true. And running backs, it's not necessarily the back. It's the offense. It's the system.
Man. The system make the back.
We see it all the time.
Yeah. But we'll go ahead and bring this to a close. I know you guys got lives to live. But, yeah, Shane, you got me, man. I'm coming over, man. Cam Akers. Cam Akers is my keep. James Robinson is my trade. Clyde Edwards-Helaire still I'm cutting. All right, guys, let's wrap it up. If you don't have any final words, anybody got any final words before we wrap it up?
It sounds like if we all want to get rid of Clyde Edwards-Helaire, now's the time to buy low.
Right.
Could be.
I'm not buying low on that one.
I mean, you could get him for a second-round pick and change, most likely.
Yeah, I could get him and sell, like you say, sell high when he has one of those big games. But I'm not. I'm out on Clyde. But
usually that's the case. If
it is. Buy low opportunity.
Yeah, if people are trying to sell someone, there's a reason. And therefore, that person maybe, hey, he's better than perhaps a draft pick that you're not sure really what you're going to get. You know what I mean? So,
but you got to have a limit.
Buying, yeah, right. But buying.
What's your limit, Shane, on buying Clyde Edwards-Helaire? What's your limit, Shane, on buying Clyde Edwards-Helaire?
No. I agree with Jeff. I think he actually could be a good buy. Like I'll give a late first rookie pick. I would give a late first for him. You're not going to get a better running back there. So,
and someone might give him for a second, depending on who they want. Maybe there's a quarterback that they want at pick 203 that they could use that pick for, and they're like, I don't need Edwards-Helaire. I've got boom, veteran, or whoever, right? And shoot, it's possible.
But look, folks, this was just a trade cut keep, and we know this is going to be hard. Of course, Cam Akers is the best back coming into next year thus far. And it does look like James Robinson is a close second, and then Clyde Edwards-Helaire is a close third. So so if you're drafting, I think you kind of want to shift towards Akers first and then go James Robinson and then Helaire. All right, Shane, wrap us up, man. Go ahead, just in case some folks tuning in that missed the beginning. What you got going on, man, and what you got in the oven?
Yeah, check me out on Twitter at Shane P. Hallam, fakepigskin.com. and listen to the Devi Marketplace. You can check that out wherever you get your podcasts if you want to hear more from me. So I appreciate you having me on. And Jeff, I'm excited to talk to you in a little while. We'll be doing it well too. So
are y'all doing the Carolina fandom next?
Yeah, we're going to do that probably like early April there, Shane. We'll talk after the show or we'll get that nailed down.
Yeah, absolutely.
All right, Jeff, go ahead and tell the folks, give your parting words, man. Tell the folks what you got going on, man.
Sure. Yeah, you can find me, of course, on Twitter at Jeff Hasley, as it says right below. And you can also at footballguys.com. You can find me there. I've got a 5-part Dynasty Roundtable series that is being published tomorrow. So that's kind of big. So yeah, that's big. Of course, I'm doing my rankings there, rookie rankings, dynasty rankings, the whole bit. Draft stuff coming up. I've got my own podcast, the Carolina Fandom, which is all about Carolina sports fans, mostly the Panthers, because that's what's the biggest talk. And you can also find my writing styles at Panthers SI. I'm doing that as well here and there. So
You're busy.
I'm busy, yeah. Busy. Yes. So
look, Jeff,
yes, thanks for having me on. It was a pleasure. I learned a lot as always, and look forward to the next time.
Jeff, one thing before we go. You just said something about dynasty ranking. What do you have those 3 guys at? Do you have it handy right quick?
Yeah. Let me
you get it right quick.
Talk amongst yourselves. Let's see.
All right, I'm the Fantasy Typhoon, aka the Mentalist, aka your favorite analyst. Just Google being the Fantasy Typhoon. Catch me here each week. We'll be doing some sort of fantasy observation. We got FA coming up, so we'll probably chop that up next week. Then we'll get back to the trade keep cut format. Maybe do a little drafting, maybe do a little dynasty drafting, kind of see what's shaking out during the off season. I don't know. We'll just keep it going. We'll try to do something every week for you guys. All right, Jeff.
So here's my dynasty rankings of those 3 backs. I've got Cam Akers as RB10, James Robinson RB11, and Clyde Edwards-Helaire RB18.
Okay. All right. That's
there you have it.
That's about what's supposed to be.
What's that?
I said, yeah, that sounds good to me.
Wait, shoot. That's not that's overall. Hold on. No. That's running back. Sorry. That's running back. Yeah. So 10, 11, and 18. And Akers is just a little bit ahead of James Robinson.
So, little low on Akers there. I think.
I knew he was going to do it.
I am the highest ranker right now, and on the staff though with Akers. Looks like he's coming in around 12, and I've got him at 10.
All right.
So you got to figure, all these other there's a
bags.
lot of other players who are ahead of him, right? Obviously. 9.
Hey, Shane.
Yeah.
Your Cam Akers jersey in the mail, bro.
All right. Yeah, there we go. I want the throwback. That's what I want.
You want
what would be cool is a Cam Akers Florida State jersey. That would be really sweet, especially those colors, the garnet and gold. That's nice.
That is nice.
All right, guys. This has been Game Time. Trade, keep, cut. Clyde Edwards-Helaire, James Robinson, Cam Akers. Signing off, Fantasy Typhoon, Shane P. Hallam, and Jeff Hasley. Be good.